everybody. It is Lisa, and it is the Rambling Hour with Lisa, Season 3, Episode 5. Hope everybody's doing well today. It is May 23rd, and I am here in my living room. And yes, I did get a haircut. And the thing is, it looks like a lot of length has been taken off, and actually a lot of it has, but it was really only like wispy ends. So to be like, it was like that much like thickness, and it was just a lot like that. So it was like just these little wispy ends that gave it the length. So I wanted it more like cut to where it would be even, so where I have lots of hair. And then I did dye it, but I'm not sure. I wanted it lighter than it was, but probably darker than this. But it's really hard now that I have quite a bit of white hair that comes in with my natural color. So I want to find a color that works with my white hair coming in. But this, I think I still want it to be a bit darker than this. More of a dirty blonde than this light. I forgot to close the door between the dining room and the entranceway, so you might hear people talking in the background. But so excitingly for Steve, he gets to go out to play cards tonight with his mates. Well, no, they're not playing cards. Sorry, they're social distance, so they might play darts or something, but they'll still get to visit. And that's the doorbell, so I'm not sure what that's about now. But this is, you know, life with family. Sorry, I know I'm messing with my hair. I just getting used to it as well. So yeah, I don't know about the color. I'm wearing a headband today that I've had for years, but I don't wear them very often, but it's really cute. So how is everybody, and what is new with you? What have you done in the last week? I finished reading a book this week that I've had since 2001. It was given to me as a gift, and I never read it, and I've been reading it for months now, but it's taken me a while to finish it, just because it's about Buddhism and Zen, and but it's written by a Black author, and it's called Being Black. So it also it's very intermittently interspersed. I don't know. I think that's the right word. Interspersed with like things about the Black Americans and what it's like growing up in America. And so it is aimed at them in a sense, because that's what it was written to, but it's still a good read for anybody. So, sorry, getting comfy in my squeaky, noisy chair. So how is everyone? Tell me what you've been up to and what you're doing on this Sunday. It is raining outside. It's been in the teens. It's not really nice at all, the weather here, but I was going to talk about some books as well when I have a few more viewers. My sister Melody, who has been my guest in the past, had surgery on the 21st, so on Friday, and what's right there? Love you. Steve's just sneaking away.
Hi.
Love you. There's like part of your face. He does exist, I swear. That's still just your chin. I love you. Okay, bye. So yes, my sister had her surgery on Friday, and for those of you who don't know, she's talked about what it was about on here, and it was a fibroid. I can't remember what the actual term is, but it's basically like it's made of tissue, and I don't know if it's fat tissue, and like it's a big massive growth. It's like a tumor, but they don't know if it's cancerous or not. They don't think it is, but they will test it, and she'll know in a few weeks if it was cancerous. Basically, she was pregnant with a huge tumor, and they were hoping that it was going to be mostly in her uterus, contained in her uterus, so that when they took her uterus and her fallopian tube out, because she already had one fallopian tube taken out when she had a tubal pregnancy. So when they took it all out, they were hoping they would get everything. As far as I know, they said that it was a lot bigger than they thought it would be, and it was a more complicated surgery than they thought it would be. but she was in recovery and resting, and she's been resting for the last couple days. I haven't heard an update. I mean, I know that she's resting, and I know that, you know, it's probably going to be a road to recovery. I haven't heard anything negative, but I haven't heard from her. I've just sent her love and positive energy and stuff, and I told her she doesn't have to respond. But I've seen, you know, when you have, like, on Messenger, where if someone's read the message, their little picture goes down. So I know she's seen my messages. So if anybody who's watching this right now, if you want to send her Melody, love, light, and positive energy, healing energy, and if you believe in energy, whether you believe it or not, it does work. So that's why prayer and such in different religions actually is a thing and actually does make a difference, because it's energy. So prayer is positive energy. Usually you're praying for positive things, and it's putting that out there, and so you can pray for a person, and that energy will get to them. So yeah, Melody is not my guest today. I don't have a guest today, actually. And yeah, we just want to wish her well and a speedy road to recovery. And we will speak to her and have her as a guest as soon as she's healed and able to. Again, I said that I wanted to talk about some of the books that I have on here. I haven't bought as many plants this year for the garden and the house, because I'm trying to love the plants that I have, even if it's till death. But it seems that my budget of non-essentials has gone towards books. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and mostly, I know it's like the ends of the spectrum, but I guess they have to do with death, but I listen to a lot of crime podcasts, and I listen to a lot of near-death experience, end of life. There's a thing called shared death experience, which actually I just talked to a friend about it a couple days ago. That is when somebody's passing away. So say you have someone that you love that has an illness, and they're in the hospital, and you know that they only have a few days left. A shared death experience can be when you are with that person when they pass away, and you see their spirit leave, or if they're seeing loved ones, even animals, who come to collect them to bring them to the other side, and you see what they're seeing and experience it, or sometimes you're even part of it. So yes, that's a shared death experience. So if Uncle Benny came to collect Aunt Lily, and you're seeing Uncle Benny as well, that's a shared death experience, and that's something I listen to as well on podcasts. And there's a lot of yeah, that type of stuff. So I guess I'll do the books now, because that's something I have to talk about. But yeah, and then so while I'm listening to this, and you know, afterlife stuff and different near-death experiences and everything, they'll suggest the book, and I'll be like, oh gosh, I mean, we already have so many books that I want to read, and there's like so many spiritual books on the shelf here. There's ones that Steve owns, which obviously as a teacher he owns a lot more than me, and then there's lots of At Feathers that I would love to read, but which I have borrowed some and given them back, so I don't have any from Feathers right now. But also with me ordering these ones, I'm gonna have my own library of ones. But we all have different interests and different, you know, like somebody who's into Reiki, and that's energy healing, and then somebody else might be into their crystals, and somebody else is into astrology, and somebody else is into numerology, and somebody else is into tarot reading, tarot cards, and someone else is into tea leaf reading, and everybody has their specialties per se. And a lot of those things actually are the same thing. It gives you something to focus your energy on to help you communicate with spirit and with the person that you're reading for. So connecting with their energy as well, so that with their higher self, you know, if they want to know which path they should take in life and such. When I speak to spirit, it is in my head. I don't see them. I have had experiences where I've saw shadows, like people that look like shadows in real life, but for the most part, it's in my head. It's like a movie. All my dreams are like that too, like as clear as you see everything here, or when you watch a movie, that's how it is in my head. So I see the spirit and how they look and what they. So I guess like people will say, it's all telepathic. So you know, when you're in your dreams, if you pay attention, you might not actually see people's mouths moving when they're talking to you, because they're speaking telepathically. So it's kind of like that. So in my head, when there's somebody there, you know, if I was talking to you about them, I'd say, okay, well, he's saying, you know, that, you know, he he's sorry that he had to leave that way. He didn't mean to, you know, leave abruptly, but he loves you and blah, blah, blah. And then the person can say something and I'll say, okay, well, he says, you know, he really likes your new red car. And you know, and they can say, okay, you know, they don't have to say, oh yes, I did get a red car. They can say it later, but little things like that will give confirmation that that it is a spirit that, you know, like if my mom went to a medium to get a reading, and it was my dad who was trying to communicate to my mom through the medium, they might say something like, you know, I really like that you're growing your hair longer, or something that the medium won't know, but my mom's always had short hair until she had, from when she's first had kids until lockdown, basically, when COVID started, she's had short hair. So it's only now that she started to grow her hair longer. Now that I'm saying it and it's out there, obviously people will know about it, but a medium that doesn't watch this will not know that, and it's important for mediums to, when they're communicating with spirit, and for spirit to give those things that are confirmation that it's the person and that they are there with you in your home, and you know, that they can still see you and communicate with you, not in a creepy way, but in a loving way, that they're still part of your life. They still see you get married, they still see your babies and their grandbabies, and they, you know, they're there for your hardest times in your life and your best times in your life. So anyways, my point was that I order a lot of these books, and some of them I want to listen to on Audible. Some of them I want to have the hard copy of the book. Even if, like I've said before, I take the book and I open to each page, take a picture with my phone, open, picture, 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 because I don't like to wreck the book, but also I can read it on my phone whenever I'm in the line somewhere or wherever I am, or I can read it in bed. And so I saw that my sister Tina has signed on right now, and actually I have two kids' books here too that I've read one of them, and I've heard about one of them, and I finally ordered it. So so first this is Being Black. I can't remember if I showed you this before or not, but this is the one that I just finished. It says Zen and the Art of Living with Fearlessness and Grace by Angel Kyoto Williams. So that's a book I just finished reading that I've had since 2001. This is the book that I just started reading today. Now, some of you may know, and we've talked about it before, but the movie What Dreams May Come is my favorite movie. It has Robin Williams, Cuba Gooding Jr. in it. And this book is from the producer of, actually, he produced another movie in 1980, and I don't think I've seen it, but in 1980, it's right at the beginning here, hang on a second, not chapter 1, it's in the what do you call the introduction. In 1980, he produced the film Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeves, Jane Seymour, and Christopher Plummer. In 1998, he produced What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, Annabella Sciorra, and Cuba Gooding Jr. And this, so life imitated, art imitated life imitating art, or life imitating art, anyways, in 1998, his wife, passed away in her sleep, and he was devastated. But she started coming to him in spirit, and he realized that the connection was still, besides the physical connection, their connection was still very strong. And what this book is it's like conversations between him and his wife after she's passed away. So it says Loving Through the Veil. And he even has her as an author. But in the book, all of anything that's said by him is written in normal text. Anything that's said by her is in italics. And I've started reading it. I'm already on. It's a really thin book, so it's a quick read. But I'm already going to be starting chapter 4, and I'm just in love. I'm so excited about it. So, and I know that Samantha's watching now too. Thank you at Loving My Hair. But I'm pretty sure Samantha would like to borrow this as well when I'm done, which is fine. So actually, I've already taken pictures of it, so she could borrow it any time. So I'm reading it on my phone. Now, these are the kids' books that I got. This one is called The Invisible String. And this is the one that I've already read. And this doesn't just have to do with death or anything else. It's about if kids move away from where, you know, if they have to move away, if someone else has to move away in their life, if their parents have to be away from them. It's about the fact that love is like an invisible string and we're always connected no matter where we go. So let's see if it has a synopsis. So the book is by Patrice Karst and illustrations by Joanne Liu. Oh, I don't know how to say that. Rethoff. And Where Does Your String Go? The Invisible String. Oh, and then there's other books. The Invisible Leash, Invisible String Workbook, The Invisible Web. You Are Never Alone. As long as love is in your heart, the invisible string will always be there. When mom tells her two children that they're all connected by an invisible string, the children insist that's impossible. But still, they want to know more. What kind of string? The answer is the simple truth that binds us all. It's an invisible string made of love. Even though you can't see it, you can feel it deep in your heart and know that you are always connected to the ones you love. This joyful contemporary classic for all ages has helped comfort and heal countless readers by easing separation anxiety, loneliness, and loss, while also exploring the intangible yet unbreakable connections between us all. There's a thing called, over here in England, they have a, what am I trying to say? Like maternity nurses. They're called midwives, but anyways, that has nothing. Okay, what I'm saying is doulas. Lots of people have heard of birth doulas. Doulas helping women give birth. Well, there's a thing called death doulas, and people probably don't know about that. But I've always been drawn to palliative care and the dying process, and not in a. I mean, it probably sounds morbid to a lot of people, but it was even before I knew that death could be such a beautiful thing and transition. But I've always been drawn to that, and you know, I want to be there on this side to help people transition, even if it's just holding their hand, or you know, because they, you know, if they don't believe or don't know what's coming, then they could be very scared when death is at their door. So I've always been drawn to that. So with the things that I listen to, and with the death doula stuff that I listen to, I've listened to a lot of things. Tina says, cool, we will try to order it for our library. The kids love picking up weekly new books. Yeah, I think it's an American author too, Tina, so it should be easy for you to get. And yes, Samantha, I will definitely lend you that book. Now, this book, what I was saying is that end of life. So my dad passed away about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, and he was only, my brain. Tina, how old was Dad now? If I'm 72 and it was 4 years ago, then 68. No, he wasn't. Was he 68? So he was only 68 when he passed away. He passed away from. He had stomach aneurysms and he had surgery on them, but we knew that even if he had a fall or anything, it could kill him. So it was complications to the stomach aneurysm surgery that he passed away from. But before that, I always had this thought that he would end up having dementia. And so I've always tried to learn more about dementia along the way where I could, because if him or anybody in my life suffers from it, I wanted to know how to deal with them and how to do it in the best way. I know one of Steve's grandmas had dementia. And so I have heard of this book. I heard about this book quite a few years ago. I mean, I don't know what year it came out, but I had heard about it in previous years. But I wanted to get it, and then it came up again. So this time I was in a place that I could order it. I did order it, and again, it's a kid's book, and it has to teach like how to deal with dementia. And it's called Grandma's Still Grandma. Oh, actually, I think the other book that I heard of, I'm gonna have to look it up, but it had to do with. I think it was something else about grandma, but it had to do. I remember something about his grandma putting her underwear in the freezer or something. I don't know, I'll have to look it up. But I haven't read this one yet, so I'll let you know what it's like. But this is called Grandma's Still Grandma, so I have this on my list to read. I have another whole pile of books that I've ordered, but I'll just do a few every week to let you know. So again, I haven't read this one yet. Again, it's a thin book because it's a kid's book, so I will let you know what I think about it. But yeah, it has to... Yeah, oh, this is written by a woman, Nancy Y. Boyd. So I think the other one that I was thinking of is written by a man. And there's also this, I remember something about this puzzle that this man made for patients with dementia. And a lot of these things are developed by people who have had to deal with grandparents who have had it. So, but the more, the sharper they keep their brains, the better they seem to be. So I'm just gonna read Tina's comment. You would be great at that. I took a teacher session with a deaf education instructor here in Alberta. I'll send you his IG. I think you'd like him. Thanks, Tina. And I do feel that that is one of my callings. Again, now that I know that there's a term for it, deaf doula, I might actually even take a course, especially now that so many things can be done online. The people I know that teach the deaf doula course are in the United States, so I'm not sure if anybody teaches it over here. But you can have also, you can start groups. This is another thing that I have books on and I am learning about is end-of-life care, but also the planning of the end of your life. And again, I know it sounds like it's morbid, but you know, if something happens to you, who's going to take care of you? What are your options? Do you want to be hooked up to machines? A lot of people are misunderstanding right now. If someone has a do not resuscitate order and they end up going on a ventilator, or they don't, you know, for COVID, that's not the same as do not resuscitate. But all these things can be very confusing unless you have it written down and you let people know exactly what you want, not only your funeral plans, but like a living will. And again, that's where it comes into a living will is not necessarily, it doesn't give everything. You have to look into all these things. And so I have these, I can tell you guys next week, maybe I'll talk about that more, but I have a few books about planning the end of life. And now, if you found out you had cancer and you had 6 months to live, then you would obviously start to put these things in order. But the fact is that we don't know when we're going to die. None of us do. And again, it's not a morbid thing, but this isn't just about the funeral and your finances and where they go and everything else. This is about how you want your care to be and how you want your death to go. So I will talk about that more next week because I'll bring out those books. But Tina said, I just found out today that Edmonton has a cemetery that does a green burial. I was so happy to see that, as it is less expensive and way better for the environment. Yes, Tina, that was one of the things that because it's, what it is this podcast that I listen to. It's called End of Life University, and it's all things end of life. But, you know, like, again, like death doulas and, what are they called? Not priests, but like, not parishioners. Anyways, yes, so, but that is one of the episodes I did talk about, that a lot of people don't realize that you can have funerals at home. You can have natural burials. You don't have to be buried in, especially in North America, we have those big cement chamber things that the huge coffins go down into. You don't have to be buried like that. Now, the podcast that I'm listening to is about the state, so it says that you have to check each state to see what the rules and regulations are, but then it would be the same in the provinces in Canada. And then over here, you would have to see as well what the things are, but also that because funerals can be really expensive, and people just assume that, like I said, they assume that you have to have it at a funeral home or a church. They assume that you have to, you know, have a coffin and do all these things. But there's so many other options out there, and a lot of there is good people in every industry, but there is also people who are in the funeral industry just to make money. So they will not hesitate to charge you more than you need to be charged for the things at the end of life. And a lot of people are going back to having the funerals in the home, and, you know, having a wake and just doing the minimum. See, this is again the same thing, like planning your death. And some people think, oh, if you don't spend like a ring, you know, like those people who think like the more expensive your engagement ring is means he must love you. Bullshit. Mine, I didn't want, if Steve spent more on this, then then I would be really unhappy, because that money could go somewhere else, and that's just not how I am. So it's the same thing with a coffin. You might think that, oh, if I buy the cheaper coffin, mom will be so mad at me because it'll look like I don't love her. But your mom might be like, what are you doing? Don't spend that much money on a coffin. I'm not even there anymore, you know? So it's really important for us to know what we want and let the ones around us know what we want. And so you can put it in one of these books that I have. And there's like a kit that you can get. So I'm going to read the book first and then see if it's enough, or if I wanted to order the kit to do all this end of life planning. But it's very interesting, and the thing is that with people that I've listened to on this podcast, obviously dealing with palliative care and end of life things, they obviously see death a lot more than the average person like we do. But especially right now with COVID and everything, a lot of people are seeing death for the first time or more than they have in the past. So we're all going to have to deal with it, whether it's everyone else around us or ourselves. And it is a topic that needs to be talked about, just like mental illness and all those other taboo subjects. Death can be a beautiful thing, and we can, one of my favorite things at funerals, and again, I know everybody's like, oh, you're so weird, you like funerals. I mean, besides the little sandwiches and food, I love that stuff at funerals, but my favorite part of the funeral is the eulogy. When or all the good stories that people tell about the person, and you laugh and you think about obviously everybody has their bad stories too. It's not just like, oh, this person was so good and they just, but you learn so much about a person at their funeral that you think, why didn't I know this stuff about them when they were alive? So that's another fact that you can do too, is you can record stories, whether it's written or whether it's recorded. There's I think there was an episode on there, actually, the End of Life University, or it was on another podcast I was listening to, and I can't remember what it's called now. I know I took a screenshot of it. I looked it up and then took a screenshot of it, and it has to do with recording like memories and recording messages and everything for your loved ones. So it can go as far as not just leaving messages for your own kids and your grandkids, but ancestors. Imagine you could listen to a recording of your great-great-grandpa telling you what his life was about and what he hoped for his descendants and everything else. So Tina says, oh, I missed a comment. Oh, no, it's still Tina, but oh, my goodness. No, I read that one. I just found out today that Edmonton, oh yeah, expensive, read that. We just read a kid's book called The Funeral. The funeral? Did you mean to capitalize the U and N in the funeral? Like funeral? Funeral? Was about how from a kid's eyes, funerals can seem fun. Oh, okay, so yeah, I get it. And, okay, so that's another thing that, I remember when me and my siblings, we come from a really big family on both sides, and going to funerals was the same as going to weddings or any type of reunion or get together or anything. That was just another family event. And not only did you get to see all your cousins and your aunts and uncles and everybody else, so there's positives like that, but it's important to have death as a part of life, because we're all gonna have to face it. I think it's really hard when I know some people who their first death they were already an adult before they had to deal with somebody's death. They're going to a funeral and everything else, and it was really hard and awkward for them because they've never had to experience anything like that. For us, it was natural. But I remember when my girl's biological grandma, their paternal grandma, passed away, and it was in, let me think about this, 2012. So I know I need to do my maths. So Allison is 4, she was born in 2004, so in 12 she's, my brain just shut off, 8. So 8, 7, and then, 8, 6, and then 5, 4, 3 or 4. Yeah, so something like that. The kids are quite young. But there was people who told me about bringing the kids to the funeral and they didn't think that was appropriate. Well, not only did I get them nice, pretty outfits that, were mostly black, but they had these dresses so they got to dress up and feel good, and they had these little, because the funeral was in the winter, they had these little fur, like, I don't even know what the name of them are. They're not cardigans, but you know the ones that go over your shoulders and your arms here, and they're kind of short. So they got to dress up and everything. But it was also Allison at 8 years old. I remember she read something, a poem that she wrote at 8 years old, and you know, not only were people giving me a hard time thinking that kids didn't belong at funerals, but when she went up there and spoke, and her words from her poem, it showed that she understood what was going on. And not only that, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment for her. And I mean, she was less afraid to go up and read that poem then than she is now. Now she has more social anxiety about getting up in front of people and stuff. And I remember it made people cry, but also, you know, in a good way. Like, it was a very loving gesture. And yeah, it was just always part. So I think it's very important to introduce kids to death. Obviously, people say about having animals and you know, pets and stuff, that's a good way to do it, because pets don't live for very long usually, and so they're going to have to experience the death of a pet. If they have pets, they're going to probably have to experience death of a pet, and that is a good way of teaching them about it. I remember when my Uncle Bob passed away, and the girls were, give me a second, Uncle Bob passed away before their grandma did. So when he passed away, the girls were at the funeral as well, because I thought it's a good experience for them going to a funeral of someone that they're not close to. So then it could be a learning experience for them. And I even brought them to, it was really cold and nobody wanted to get out of the car. And even the priest at the burial, because it was a Christian burial, was like, woohoo, it's cold. Like it took a few seconds. But I still took the time to take the girls out of the car and go over to the burial and show how the casket was going to be lowered into the ground. Or actually it was, they weren't waiting for everybody to walk away. They were just, it was so bitterly cold that winter. And I used it as a teaching tool, showing them that this is what happens. His spirit's gone now, but the body is just going to go down there and decompose and everything else. And so but back to it, there's so many options for funerals now. It doesn't have to be so super expensive. And if you're not comfortable with, being buried in a huge expensive coffin and then put into a big cement, you know, thing, then you can look into other options. There is, like Tina said, and in different places in the world, it is legal and acceptable to have natural burials. And I think there's even some places where they put you in some kind of pod that decomposes, or a tree grows over you or something. I don't know. There's different options, so you can look into that. Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Oh, it is, what I was going to say is the contrary from listening to, like, my crime ones. So, it's all, I'm interested in all crime. It's like, but, you know, if you listen to the serial killer ones and stuff like that and dealing with death like that, all the way to the other end of the spectrum of dealing with death, and the afterlife and everything else. But it has opened my eyes up to a lot of things, depending on what you believe. But if you believe in an afterlife, then it's not as heartbreaking to know when somebody passes away. But also, if you believe that we're all here to learn lessons or teach, not only are we here to teach others, but others are here to teach us, then any of the deaths that we have to endure are things that teach us as well. Like I've said before, some of the worst things that have happened in our life have been our biggest teaching tools. So I can imagine that if you think back to something that was very devastating or hard to get through in your life, it may have also been the time that you did the most personal growth. And so out of a negative thing, it came positive. And I know that's true with my first divorce. That was probably the most devastating. Like I said, I come from a big family. I've been to so many funerals. I've, you know, lost people that I've been really close to, and that hurts. But the end of my first marriage was devastating, because I never got married intending to have a divorce, and it happened within a week, and it just hurt. It physically hurt. One second I'd be fine, and then I'd be crying, and it like physically hurt. And I understood now, like, how you can have heartache. And but in that, there was also, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I'm super happy in my life. My life is so on track, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. But in the moment, it was heartbreaking. It was the worst thing that happened to my heart ever, and it hurt so bad. But I started, I also became one of the best versions of me, because I knew that now any of the financial problems, I had no one else to blame. It was all on me. So I had never been more specific and good with my money. I started working out at that time, and I was, you know, got in shape. I did so much to better my life, and I became such a good version of myself with that worst thing that happened to me. Hi, Mom. Yes, I did cut my hair, and I dyed it. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the color or go a bit darker, but I know, again, it looks like a drastic. It was a lot of length, but there was only like striggly strands. So thank you to Samantha's mother, Carolyn, who cut my hair for me, and yeah, I'm still gonna keep growing it. So I don't, you know, but I wanted it to be at a healthy length and look good. So I will keep growing it. And yes. So do you guys have any questions? Is there anything you want to talk about? I did mention that shared death experience that a friend sent me a message about a couple days ago, and that is something I want to do. I want to make a post about it too, not just on here, but I want, so many people have stories, whether you've had a near-death experience, whether you've experienced ghosts or any spooky encounters like that, or you've shared death experiences, if you've been with somebody who's passed away and you've had a strange, like you saw their spirit leave their body, or you had, you know, anything else happen. A lot of these things with spirit and stuff like that, you may think like you don't have anyone to tell and you don't know who to tell, and even if you told people, they wouldn't believe you, or they'd call you weird, or they'd say it's the devil's work or whatever. But I would love to know of my friends and family, and this is absolutely like private. Like, unless you say that I can share your story, I won't tell. Like, even like I said, that there's a friend who messaged me about the shared death experience, but I'm not telling you who it is or where they're from or anything like that. But if you have weird incidents or things that you'd love to share, I wonder how many of my friends and family have had near-death experiences, or have had shared death experiences, or have had messages from their loved ones, or visits from their loved ones. A lot of times the visits come in dreams, so you might have a really vivid dream that you remember, where you sat down and were talking to your grandma and she told you something like this. Any of those things, inbox me and message me and let me know if you've had anything weird or out of the ordinary. And listen, nothing's off limits. If you want to talk about aliens, if you want to talk about anything like that, then, you know, fairies, whatever, angels, anything that you have experienced and you feel comfortable enough to tell me. I will not tell anybody unless you tell me that I'm allowed to share your story. And even then, you can tell me if I'm allowed to share your story, and if you want to stay anonymous, even though I'm allowed to share the story, or if you want to totally have it out there. But I would love, love, love to hear about my friends and family and things that they've experienced in their life that are, quote, supernatural. So, oh, that's really annoying. Mom says I'm cutting out. Has that been consistently? Because it's going to be really annoying if I'm talking about something important and then all you're hearing is The weird thing is I don't even have my Wi-Fi on. I purposely left it on 4G so I would have a good signal. I can put my Wi-Fi on if that's better. Has it been like that the whole time that people have been watching? Let me know. Not gonna work. Mom, am I still cutting out? Mommy, Mom, Mommy. Am I cutting out? Like constantly? Okay, I turned my Wi-Fi on, so we'll see if that's any better. Okay, Tina says only froze a few times for me since I've been on. So hopefully those times that I froze, even if they're in the one that, like if you watch it after it's been recorded, hopefully it's a good good connection. It's really hard for me because I can hear myself talking because I'm live with myself, so I really have no idea what you guys are hearing and what you're not. So it's important for you guys to tell me that if it's something is not acting properly. So I hope does the connection seem better now that I turned on the Wi-Fi? So after I'm done my live, I already ate supper, which is good. It was so yummy. I had a pork chop and some rice and some steamed broccoli and a bit of mushroom soup as a gravy, like mushroom soup on the rice and mushroom soup on the pork chop. I made the pork chops in the pressure cooker, like in the Ninja, and it was so yummy. I wanted more, but I controlled myself. So I've already eaten. I worked out. I've done all that I need to do. Oh, actually, the kids' uniforms are in the washing machine. I need to put them in the dryer. But after I'm done, Steve is gone out with his boys, which has been a long time coming. And I'm really happy that he can do that. And so I am going to lie in bed and read. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't get to do that very often because I'm a doer and I'm doing stuff all day long. And then once I get to the bedroom, then me and Steve usually watch some television before we go to sleep, and that's our time to spend together. So even if I'm on my phone, you know, it's not spending time with him. So I'm excited to keep reading, and then I will have a nice sleep. And tomorrow is Monday, and we'll get back to it again. So what is your plans for this week? I'm just gonna have a drink. Talking this much makes my throat dry. It's nice that my sister Tina's on and that my mom's on. It's, you know, I mean, to be honest, if Melody's in recovery, she could watch. She doesn't have to interact or anything, and she can always watch at a later time. I just hope she's doing well, and I hope if, you know, she's resting and doing what she needs to do to feel better soon. Tina and Mom, one of you guys can send me a message and let me know if there's anything new with her, if she's just, you know, taking it easy in recovery and everything. So, yes, let me just check how long I've been rambling. Wow, 40 minutes already. Yeah, well, it seems that it's been a lot of death talk, which is typical for me. I don't know what my obsession with it is, but I love the afterlife. I love the idea of the afterlife, which is one of the reasons that I was so interested in near-death experiences, is not so much for the fact that they almost died, but what happened to them when they were talking to their loved ones or on the other side and everything else. And I've read so many books, and some of these books that I've read have been from as early as, well, even wartime, like the 40s. Well, I guess the books weren't necessarily written in the 40s, but they were people who experienced things in the 40s. But a lot of the books that I've read, not a lot of the books, I have read a lot of books from before there was anything like the internet or anything like that, where some of the stuff that they just couldn't make up. Well, I mean, anybody can make stories up, but I'm just saying the similarities between experiences of mediums and people who've experienced the afterlife and stuff like that in the last 100 years, from say 50 or 60 years ago, compared to what they say about it now. It's very interesting, the similarities even from different places in the world, or people who haven't read those books. So it's very interesting to learn about the afterlife and the different levels of the afterlife and what people's personal views are on it, or what they've experienced in wait, hang on, Monday. Oh yes, right, that's right. So Tina says we are getting our flowers in this week. Get Mom's garden in last week and ours this weekend. And Mom says Monday is a holiday, which I forgot. Yes, it is. So for the Canadians, it is May long weekend, which might be why I might not have a lot of Canadian viewers, because a lot of them might have gone camping or other things. So it is, in the UK, we call them bank holidays. So bank holiday weekend. And the interesting thing for May, and I might have said this last week, is that in the UK, they have 2 bank holiday weekends in May. So the first weekend of May and the last weekend of May are long weekends in the UK, and then the third week, which is this weekend, in Canada is a long weekend. So if I want to celebrate both, I can have 3 May long weekends. But yeah, so traditionally in Canada, for those of my viewers who are from here in the UK, in Canada and America, North America, like the United States, May long weekend signifies usually the first weekend for camping, although some people camp all year round, or if you have nicer weather, and the Farmer's Almanac and stuff like that. Really, they suggest not planting your garden, your vegetable garden, before or any what are they called? What's opposite of hardy? My brain's shut off. Like, not sensitive. What? My brain has totally, what do you call plants that can't handle frost and stuff? Anyways, so you don't plant your garden until the May long weekend because it usually there's no more chance of frost. So tender, that's what it's called. So your tender annuals or perennials and your vegetable garden you usually don't plant until May long weekend. So in that, I did plant out my corn. Yesterday it was pretty nice. Well, actually so the lawnmower, we've had it for less than 2 years and the motor just quit on it. So we have a 3-year, it comes with a 3-year warranty, and we sent it back and they fixed it or put in a new motor and sent it back, and I got it back. I got it back a couple days ago, but say on Friday. So yesterday I was really excited. If it stopped raining, I wanted to get out and mow the lawn, and it was dry enough, because this lawnmower you can use if the grass is wet as well, but because it had been windy and it hadn't been rainy, the grass was, because it's not very long, it was dry enough. So I was like, oh, I need to get outside and mow the lawn really quickly before it rains again. But then it kind of like, after I mowed in the gray skies, it kind of was nice yesterday, so and it didn't rain, so I got to spend quite a few hours outside yesterday. And I planted the corn that I had in the greenhouse, the gem corn. I'm doing that again this year. And I planted out my squash, my spaghetti squash, and those are the only 2 things I really started from seed this year. But I put those out, and then I moved my banana plants, trees, whatever they're called, bananas out of the greenhouse and put them into the garden. And I was just kind of making my displays, putting away all my my containers of daffodils and tulips and stuff if they've already bloomed. I've just moved them to a different part of the garden because you want the green leaves and everything to die down naturally. You don't want to, some people in the olden days, they used to tie up the green leaves, and you don't want to do that. You want them to stay open, because then they can get the most sunlight to create photosynthesis. They're feeding the bulbs for next year's blooms, so you want to just leave them and you want them to die back naturally, and you don't remove them until they're all wilty and yellow, and then you can remove the leaves and put them in the compost. So I'm just moving those out of the displays and putting them into another area of the garden, so that the displays that I do with the containers, I can shove things in there that are already blooming for right now, or they're going to bloom soon. So I worked on that yesterday, and that really, I needed the time outside because it's been quite rainy here the last couple weeks, and it doesn't seem to be letting up much. Like, the weather, it is a bit chilly. It's only, say, between 11 and 15 most days. That's the high, and the low is anywhere from 4 to 9 overnight. So even putting my bananas out is, really I should have acclimatized them, like where I put them out during the day and then put them back in the greenhouse at night, and I do that for 5 to 10 days. But because I have 3 and they seem prolific, this type of banana, it keeps making new babies and stuff, I just put them out. So hopefully, even if something happens to one of them, they'll be fine. And really, they can be planted in the ground here, but then in the winter they need to be wrapped up and protected that way. So, yes, I am. It's going to be so weird to go into our room and just read and Steve not be home. And he won't get home until about 11 or midnight. And usually I go to sleep around midnight. So, but then when if he's not in there for whatever reason, I tend to be bored and then go to sleep earlier. If it's up to me, I'd probably go to sleep at 10 o'clock every night. But like I said, when I get up there, me and Steve watch TV, and so I just tell myself if I get up if I go to sleep at midnight. Yep, working out is good. I am on day 279 today, I believe, and it's I still have this injury here, so there's still things I can't do with. I don't even know what it's from or what, I'm really trying not to do my weights with this arm and stuff. I'm trying to let it heal, but it is really annoying because even my push-ups and stuff, I can't do them properly, and it's like, I've worked so hard to be able to do the push-ups, so not being able to do them is frustrating. I can do them, but I don't want to do too much on it because I want the injury to heal. I don't want it just to keep coming back every week because I'm doing the same things. So I don't know what it was that injured it in the first place, so I'm just trying to be you know, but the workouts are still going good. Oh my God, the other day, a couple days ago, I went for a walk with Steve, and as you guys know, he walks every day with Lena, and he power walks. So because he's been doing it for over a year, he can, you know, he's got pretty fit legs. Not only that, he's taller than me, so his strides are bigger. So I tried to keep up, and I would not have been able to walk with him if it wasn't for me working out, because the endurance was okay, but my shins were killing me. And not only that, it was raining, and I don't mean like a little bit of rain. I mean, it was raining, and it was so awesome, because not only like him and me and Lena, and we walked to these, they're called the lime beds. They're just these like beds of lime, and we walked around there, and because it's raining, there's nobody else around. And but also Lena gets to run around there off of her leash, and she just gets to run free. So, and then the rain, and me and Steve walking really fast, and just, I loved it. I loved, the rain was like dripping off of us. It was so crazy. And even he was wearing waterproof pants and our waterproof jackets, but I didn't have my jacket zipped up all the way, so then eventually some rain got in here, or it was coming off my hat, and then my trousers that I had over my sweatpants, I thought they were waterproof, but by the end of it, my sweatpants were starting to stick to my legs, and it was pouring rain, and we were just splashing in puddles, and I love it. I wouldn't have wanted to experience it with anybody else. I was, and my legs are sore, and I was exhausted, but it was so much fun. That's a dog. What's wrong, Lena? Do you need to go outside? Yeah? You want to come here? You haven't been on for a long time. Come here. Well, come up here, and then I'll let you out. You want to go outside? You gotta come here. Do you want to go outside? Come here. I know you're not my lap dog. Come here. They want to see you. Up, up. Good girl. Now you need to go outside. Okay, give me 1 second. I need to let the Lena outside. I don't want her to be outside very long because it's still raining, and then we'll have a soggy doggy, but she doesn't mind it, but I do. Actually, she's really good, because she knows that if she's wet from going for a walk with Steve or being outside like this when she comes in, if she's wet, she knows that if she lies on her bed, one of her beds on the floor, like the hard, round plastic beds, and they have a blanket in them, or if she goes up on the couch on her blanket there, she knows that if she's wet, it makes the bed wet, and then it doesn't feel comfortable once she's dry because the bed's still wet. So she will purposely not lie on her beds if she's wet. But my yoga mat's still out, so she'll do that. If she comes in and she's wet, she'll lie on my yoga mat, and she won't go on her beds until she's dry. So I think that's really cool that she's smart enough to know that if she gets her bed wet, it's going to stay wet for a long time and it doesn't feel good. So I hope everybody's having a good Sunday, and that you've had a good week this last week that we've just had, and that you have a great week this week coming up. And I can't believe it's going to be June already. So the next time we speak, it will be June. It is like this all the time. We wait and wait and wait for spring and summer, and then it like, boom, it's like here, and it's gone so quickly. So it's, before you know it, it's going to be actual, you know, officially summer, but we don't want to take a day for granted. So, and I know it's raining right now, but we do get enough nice days here. And like you guys know, I get a longer gardening season. And to be honest, even on rainy days, when I look out in the garden now and I see how much work I've done and how beautiful it is, I can just, even on a rainy day, I could just sit and stare out through the window and enjoy the garden. But yeah, I do love that I get a longer gardening season, but we still need to really enjoy the summer, because before you know it, it'll be gone. There's something this first week of June. What is happening? I can't remember what's happening. Something with one of the kids and this first week of June, but I can't remember what it is. But usually I'm good at, and I write things on the calendar. So we will see what it is, because I'm not remembering what's happening. And Allison's done school for the year. She's in college. Lena's just at the door. I'm going to let Lena back in. Come on. Good girl. So Lena is, Allison's done her first year of college for the year, and the course she's taking is 2 years, so she has 1 more year to go. So that's interesting that she's already home, and it's the end of May. That's new for me. And I mean, I guess we did it with Thomas as well. But what's the other thing? Girls' school. So school for other kids here, like normal school, doesn't end until mid-July. So they still have a lot to do for school. Haley's birthday. My mom just said Haley's birthday. So Haley's birthday is, I believe, is it June 2nd? I always get it wrong. I think it's the 4th. But I think, because I think it's usually the 4th, I think that if I say the 2nd, I might actually be right this time. So my older sister Melody, who we've talked about today, and she's been my guest before, her best friend Karen had a son named Caleb. And then 2 weeks later, Melody had her son Breton. And then 3 weeks later, my brother's wife Tara had her daughter Haley. So the 3 of them are really close in age. And so Caleb and Breton have already turned 20, and Haley will be 20 in a couple days. So that is very exciting. And, but I mean, Mom, I know that is, it's going to bug me now what it is. But I need to put in my prescription tomorrow as well. I know. I have this stuff written down, so I don't need to tell you guys what I need to do for my to-do list, but just thinking out loud. So this shirt, it's funny, because now, I mean, I put this shirt on because I thought the light blue stripes would look good with the light hair, and it does. But I've actually wore this shirt before, and I have pictures of me wearing it, although I look better in it now because I'm more fit. But I wore this shirt to the first Hat and Flower show with Steve when I went, I don't even know, like say 4 years ago, maybe now. I don't remember how many years ago my first one was, but at the time I had bleached blonde hair. And so in those pictures, I have blonde hair and I'm wearing this shirt. But I thought I'd wear it now, and I may be sending this one to the warehouse because I honestly just have too much clothes. And I'm getting to that point in life where less is more. You know, I just don't want to deal with a lot of it. And to be honest, I wear the same, not the same sweatpants. I don't wear the same sweatpants every day, but I have about 6 to 8 pairs of sweatpants, different colors, and then t-shirts that I kind of coordinated with them. And I basically I usually wear them for 2 days in a row, but I also work out in them. It depends if I go outside or get dirty or whatever. But, and then I just alternate through those. So I tend to wear a lot of the same clothes, especially with, you know, COVID and all the rules things. This is the only time I dress up differently, really. Although, like I said last week, we went to Steve's Auntie June's and then going to the immigration meeting, the biometrics thing, that, you know, I haven't really dressed up. So, but I do have way too much clothes. I need to get rid of stuff. And I'm really proud of Steve. A couple weeks ago, he got rid of like 30 shirts. 30. So that was, I mean, he has a lot of clothes too, but that's a lot to get rid of at one time. Samantha says, you wear the same trousers day in and day out. Listen, I am cheap, but I'm not that cheap. I mean, I do. And I'm a filthy animal, but I do change my clothes, you know, once a month at least. So, yes, I am happy that you guys are here and watching, and I love you guys, and I'm really glad that you guys tuned in. I hope you've had a good week this last week, and no, I still haven't watched the movie Soul. Ooh, there's part of me that just wants to go watch it right now because I'm home alone. Well, not alone, but you know what I mean? But actually, I think Steve would enjoy it too, so maybe I'll put that on our list to watch together this week. Sorry, I tried to pet the dog as she walked by, but I didn't get her. Yeah, so I'm going to read. But yeah, I haven't watched the movie Soul yet, but I bet you guys haven't either, and I bet you guys haven't watched What Dreams May Come yet either. But just have a really good week, and we will talk more next weekend. I will see if I will have a guest next weekend. And also, I will talk more about the, what is that? Not the living will. You know what I said I was going to talk more about the planning and stuff like that. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will see you again next week. And goodbye to those who already said bye, and love you as well. And I love everybody else who isn't typing, or anybody who's watching this later. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Rambling Hour with Lisa. Love you guys. Bye.